Ladies and gentlemen, there are moments in life when everything around you seems frozen. You pray, but the answer feels delayed. You work hard, but the reward does not come. You wake up every morning carrying silent battles that nobody else can see. You smile in public while privately wondering when your breakthrough will finally arrive. But I want you to hear this with all your heart today. God's favor is about to completely shift your situation. What you are experiencing right now is not the end of your story. It is only a season. Seasons change. Storms pass. Darkness never lasts forever. And the same God who carried you through yesterday is preparing to open doors you never imagined possible. Sometimes God allows us to walk through difficult valleys because He is building strength inside of us. He is teaching us dependence. He is shaping our character so we can handle the blessings that are coming. You may feel forgotten, but heaven has not lost your address. God knows your pain. He sees every tear, every sleepless night, every disappointment, and every prayer whispered when nobody else was around. There are people listening right now who feel exhausted. You have fought battle. Ease in your family, battles in your finances, battles in your emotions, and battles in your spirit. You kept going even when you felt weak. You trusted even when you did not understand. And because you remained faithful in difficult seasons, favor is now moving in your direction. God's favor can change a situation overnight. One phone call can change your future. One opportunity can open a door that no person can shut. One moment of divine intervention can turn years of struggle into testimony. Never underestimate what God can do in a short amount of time. The world may look at your situation and say it is impossible, but God is not limited by human opinions. He is not restricted by economic conditions, by failures from your past, or by the negativity surrounding you. When God decides to bless someone, no obstacle can stop Him. No enemy can block His purpose. No delay can cancel His promise. You may have lost something valuable along the journey. Perhaps you lost confidence. Perhaps you lost peace. Maybe you lost relationships, opportunities, or dreams you once held close to your heart. But God is able to restore what was broken. He is able to rebuild what collapsed. He is able to, bring beauty from ashes. There are times when favor does not look like favor in the beginning. Sometimes God removes people from your life because they were hindering your destiny. Sometimes He closes doors because He has something greater ahead. In painful moments, we often question God's plan. But later we discover that what felt like rejection was actually protection. Do not become discouraged because your journey has taken longer than expected. Delays are not denials. God's timing is perfect. While you are waiting, He is working behind the scenes. He is aligning the right people, the right opportunities, and the right circumstances for your future. Many people want instant success, but they do not realize that lasting blessings are built through preparation. God prepares the person before He releases the promise. That is why your struggle has not been wasted. Every hardship has been strengthening your faith and teaching you endurance. Some of you are standing on the edge of a major breakthrough, but fear is trying to convince you to give up now. Do not quit in the middle of the process. The enemy attacks hardest when your blessing is closest. Keep praying, keep believing, keep walking by faith, even when you cannot yet see the outcome. Faith means trusting God when the path is unclear. It means believing that He is working even when circumstances seem silent. The greatest victories often begin in moments when nothing appears to be changing. But suddenly God moves. Suddenly, doors open. Suddenly, favor appears where frustration once existed. You are not defined by your current circumstances. Your present condition is temporary. God has the power to shift your environment, your mindset, your relationships, and your future. He can place you in rooms you never thought you would enter. He can bring support from unexpected places. He can create opportunities that human effort alone could never produce. Sometimes we ask God to remove every challenge, but often He uses those very challenges to reveal His power. Your testimony will inspire others someday. The pain you survived will become proof of God's faithfulness. The battle you are fighting today may become the message that gives someone else hope tomorrow. Do not compare your journey with someone else's. God has a unique assignment for your life. What He is preparing for you is specifically designed. D for your purpose. Comparison steals joy and weakens faith. Stay focused on what God is doing in your own life. And let me remind you of something important. Favor is not something you earn through perfection. None of us are perfect. Favor is a gift from God's grace. It is His hand upon your life. It is His ability working where your strength ends. That means you do not have to carry every burden alone. God is fighting battles for you that you cannot even see. There will always be voices trying to fill your mind with doubt. People may underestimate you. Some may remind you of your failures and mistakes, but do not allow negative voices to become louder than God's promises. The same God who created the universe placed purpose inside of you. Your life still has meaning. Your future still carries hope. The greatest mistake you can make in difficult seasons is losing your expectation. Expect God to move. Expect healing. Expect restoration. Expect open doors. Expect favor to surround your life. What you expect often shapes how you move forward. Wake up each morning believing that something good can happen. Speak life over your future instead of defeat. Refuse to let temporary problem, EMS, convince you that your life will never improve. God specializes in impossible situations. Remember that many of the people we admire today once walked through seasons of uncertainty and hardship. They experienced rejection, delays, and pain. But they continued trusting God, and eventually favor changed everything. Your story is still being written. This chapter may be difficult, but it is not the conclusion. God's favor is able to lift you out of confusion and into clarity, out of struggle and into peace, out of limitation and into abundance. So hold on to your faith. Keep your heart open. Keep moving forward one step at a time. The breakthrough you prayed for may be closer than you realize. God's favor is about to completely shift your situation. And when it happens, you will look back and understand that every trial, every delay, and every tear was preparing you for the blessing that was waiting ahead. There are moments in life when everything seems locked in place. You pray for change, but nothing moves. You work hard, but the results never seem to come. You try to stay hopeful, but disappointment keeps testing your spirit again and again. Many people quietly carry a burden, S, that nobody else can see. They wake up every morning with pressure on their hearts, wondering if their situation will ever improve. But what many fail to realize is that God can completely change a person's life in a single moment of favor. One touch of God's favor can accomplish what years of human effort could not achieve. One divine opportunity can open doors that seem permanently closed. Sometimes we believe change must happen slowly, but God is not limited by time, people, or circumstances. He has the power to suddenly shift situations in ways we could never predict. There are seasons when it feels like nothing is working in your favor. You may experience rejection, delays, financial struggles, emotional exhaustion, or broken relationships. During those difficult moments, it becomes easy to believe that your future will always look the same. Fear whispers that things will never improve. Doubt tries to convince you that your prayers are being ignored. But God often works quietly behind the scenes before the breakthrough becomes visible. Many people in life experience sudden turning points they never expected. One conversation changes everything. One opportunity transforms their future. One answered prayer lifts them out of years of struggle. What looked impossible for a long time suddenly becomes reality. That is the power of God's favor operating in a person's life. Favor does not always arrive when we expect it, but it always arrives at the right time. God sees the entire picture while we only see the current moment. We focus on our pain, but God focuses on our purpose. We become discouraged by delays, but God understands that preparation is necessary before promotion. Sometimes He allows the waiting season because He is strengthening your faith and preparing your heart for what is coming next. There are people listening who feel tired from carrying the weight of disappointment. You may have worked hard and remained faithful, yet life still feels unfair. Others around you seem to move ahead while you remain stuck in the same place. But never mistake a delay for abandonment. God has not forgotten you. Heaven still knows your name. Your prayers still matter. One of the greatest dangers during difficult seasons is losing expectation. When disappointment lasts too long, people stop believing things can change. They lower their hopes. They settle. Discouragement. But faith means believing that God can move even when there is no visible sign of change. Faith says, my current situation is not permanent. Faith says, God is still working even when I cannot see it. Sometimes favor appears in unexpected ways. A closed door may actually be protection. A painful separation may be preparing you for healthier relationships. A setback may redirect you toward a greater purpose. What feels like loss today may later become the reason for your greatest blessing. God understands what we cannot yet see. You may feel overlooked by people, but God knows exactly where you are. Human opinions do not determine your destiny. People may underestimate your abilities, criticize your past, or doubt your future, but God's favor can elevate you beyond every limitation placed upon your life. When He opens a door, no person can close it. There are moments when God intentionally waits until situations seem impossible so that His power becomes undeniable. When everything depends on human strength, people take the credit. But when God moves in impossible circumstances, there is no confusion about where the breakthrough came from. Do not allow temporary struggles to define your future. Your present condition is not your final destination. God specializes in restoring broken situations, rebuilding wounded hearts, and creating opportunities in places where none existed before. He can bring peace into chaos, hope into despair, and joy into scenes filled with pain. Every prayer you whispered in private, every tear you cried in silence, and every moment you chose faith over fear has not gone unnoticed. God's favor has a way of arriving at the exact moment when people feel like giving up, and suddenly the very situation that once caused pain becomes the testimony that reveals His faithfulness. Difficult seasons have a way of making people question everything. When life becomes painful, confusing, and exhausting, it is easy to wonder why God allows certain struggles to happen. Many people ask, if God loves me, why am I going through this battle? Why does the road feel so heavy? Why does it seem like everyone else is moving forward while I remain stuck? These are honest questions that countless people carry deep within their hearts. But what we often fail to understand is that difficult seasons are not meaningless. God uses every challenge, every delay, and every hardship to prepare us for greater blessings ahead. Growth rarely happens in comfort. Strength is not developed during easy moments. Faith becomes stronger when it is tested. Character is built during pressure. Many people want the blessing, but they do not want the process that prepares them to handle it. Yet God knows that if He gives certain blessings too early, people may not be spiritually, emotionally, or mentally ready to carry them. Sometimes God allows closed doors because He is redirecting your path towards something greater. Sometimes He removes certain people from your life because they cannot go where He is taking you. In the moment, those experiences may feel painful and unfair, but later you realize that what seemed like rejection was actually protection. God sees dangers, distractions, and future problems that we cannot see from our limited perspective. There are seasons where people feel hidden, overlooked, and forgotten. You may feel like your efforts are unnoticed. You may wonder why your prayers seem unanswered while others appear to receive blessings quickly. But hidden seasons are often preparation seasons. Before God promotes a person publicly, He often develops them privately. Before He opens major doors, He strengthens their heart, deepens their faith, and teaches them dependence on Him. Consider how many people become discouraged because life did not unfold according to their timeline. They expected success sooner, healing sooner, answers sooner, and breakthroughs sooner. But God's timing is not controlled by human impatience. Delays are often part of preparation. What feels slow to us may actually be perfect timing in God's plan. Pain has a way of teaching lessons that comfort never could. During difficult moments, people discover strength they never knew they possessed. They learn how to persevere through disappointment. They learn how to trust God when circumstances make no sense. They learn how to keep moving forward even while carrying emotional wounds. Those lessons become part of the foundation that prepares them for future blessings. Many people only see the struggle, but they fail to see what the struggle is producing within them. Pressure can either break a person or refine them. Challenges can either create bitterness or create wisdom. Difficult seasons reveal what truly exists inside the heart. They expose weaknesses, deepen spiritual maturity, and teach dependence on God instead of dependence on temporary things. Sometimes God delays blessings because He wants people to appreciate them when they finally arrive. If everything came instantly, many would never develop gratitude, patience, or humility. Waiting seasons teach people how to trust God beyond visible results. They teach endurance. They teach surrender. They teach the importance of remaining faithful even when there is no immediate reward. There are moments when life feels unfair because you have done the right thing but still experienced hardship. You remained faithful, yet doors closed. You prayed, yet the situation became harder. You gave your best, yet people still walked away. During those moments, discouragement can become dangerous. The enemy wants people to believe that their struggles are pointless. But God wastes nothing. Every tear, every setback, every disappointment, and every painful experience can become part of the story. He uses for a greater purpose. Often the greatest testimonies come from the hardest battles. People who have survived pain carry wisdom that others cannot understand. Their scars become reminders of God's faithfulness. Their struggles become proof that difficult seasons do not last forever. One day, the very situation that caused tears may become the testimony that inspires someone else to keep believing. Never underestimate what God is building inside you during seasons of waiting and struggle. While you focus on what you have lost, God may be preparing you for something far greater than what you expected. He is shaping your character, strengthening your faith, and teaching you lessons that will sustain you in future seasons of blessing and responsibility. There are blessings that only become meaningful after a season of preparation. There are doors that only open when a person is finally ready to walk through them. And there are moments when you look back over your painful journey and finally realize that every difficult season was developing the strength, wisdom, and faith necessary for the future God had planned all along. One of the greatest challenges people face during difficult seasons is maintaining faith when nothing seems to be changing. It is easy to trust God when doors are opening, prayers are being answered, and life feels peaceful. But real faith is revealed during moments of uncertainty. Faith becomes powerful when you continue believing even while standing in the middle of confusion, disappointment, and delay. Many people begin their journey with confidence and expectation, but after repeated setbacks, they slowly lose hope. They stop expecting opportunities. They stop believing their situation can improve. Discouragement quietly takes control of their thinking. They continue living, but internally they feel defeated. This is why protecting your faith is so important during hard seasons. The moment a person loses hope, they begin surrendering to fear instead of trusting God's promises. Faith does not mean you never feel weak. It does not mean you never cry or question why things are happening. Faith means choosing to trust God even when emotions are unstable. It means believing that He is still working behind the scenes even when there is no visible evidence. Many times, God is doing His greatest work in silence. There are moments in life when everything around you may suggest failure. Your finances may be struggling. Relationships may be broken. Opportunities may disappear. Doors may close up unexpectedly. During those moments, fear will try to convince you that your future is hopeless. But fear and faith cannot lead your life at the same time. You must decide which voice you will follow. The enemy often attacks people hardest when they are closest to breakthrough. That is why many individuals feel intense pressure right before a major change occurs in their lives. The closer you are to your blessing, the stronger the temptation becomes to quit, complain, or lose confidence. But some of the greatest miracles happen after long seasons of waiting. Many people in Scripture and throughout life experienced moments where situations looked impossible before sudden change arrived. They faced rejection, uncertainty, delays, and painful setbacks. Yet they continued trusting God when circumstances made no sense. They understood that God's power is not limited by what appears impossible to human understanding. Sometimes people focus so much on their current pain that they forget how powerful God truly is. The same God who created the universe can change your situation in ways you cannot imagine. He can create opportunities where none existed. He can bring healing into broken place. Ease. He can restore peace to troubled hearts. He can shift circumstances faster than human effort ever could. Faith also requires patience. Many people want immediate answers, immediate blessings, and immediate breakthroughs. But patience is part of spiritual maturity. Waiting seasons teach trust. They teach surrender. They teach dependence on God instead of dependence on visible results. Often, while people are waiting for God to change their situation, God is changing them internally. It is important to guard your thoughts during difficult seasons. Negative thinking can slowly destroy expectation. If you constantly tell yourself that nothing will improve, eventually your mind becomes trapped in hopelessness. That is why you must speak life over your future, even when circumstances feel discouraging. Your words influence your perspective. Instead of speaking defeat, speak faith. Instead of expecting failure, expect God to move. Surrounding yourself with the wrong voices can also weaken your faith. Some people project their fears, negativity, and limitations onto others. They may doubt your dreams because they abandoned their own. They may criticize your faith because they stopped believing long ago. But you cannot allow human negativity to become louder than God's promises over your life. There will be moments when you feel tired emotionally and spiritually. Moments when you wonder how much longer you can keep fighting. But strength often grows in hidden places. Every time you choose faith over fear, you become stronger internally. Every time you continue trusting despite disappointment, your spirit develops resilience. One of the greatest mistakes people make is assuming that silence means God is absent. Just because you cannot see immediate movement does not mean God has stopped working. Seeds grow underground long before anyone sees visible fruit. In the same way, breakthroughs are often developing long before they appear publicly. Do not allow temporary circumstances to define your future permanently. Your current struggle is not the final chapter of your story. God has the power to bring restoration, healing, provision, and favor at the exact right moment. Continue praying even when answers seem delayed. Continue believing even when the situation feels difficult. Continue moving forward even when progress feels slow. There are seasons when faith I feel heavy. But those are often the seasons where God is preparing to reveal His faithfulness in ways greater than you expected. One moment of divine favor can erase years of frustration, and suddenly the doors that once seemed impossible to open begin to move in ways only God could arrange. There are times in life when people become so focused on what they have lost that they forget to recognize what still remains inside them. Pain has a way of distracting the mind. Disappointment can cloud vision. Failure can weaken confidence. And after repeated struggles, many people begin to believe that their best days are behind them. They stop dreaming boldly. They stop expecting change. They settle into survival instead of believing for restoration. But one of the most powerful truths a person can understand is that God is still able to restore, rebuild, and renew every broken area of life. No situation is too damaged for God to repair. Human beings may look at broken circumstances and see no solution, but God sees possibilities where people only see limitations. He specializes in restoring things that appeared lost forever. He restores peace to troubled minds. He restores strength to weary hearts. He restores hope to discouraged souls. Even when life feels shattered into pieces, God has the power to rebuild something beautiful from the ruins. Many people carry invisible wounds from past experiences. Some were betrayed by people they trusted deeply. Others experienced rejection, abandonment, heartbreak, or failure. Some gave their best effort only to watch opportunities disappear before their eyes. These painful moments leave scars that affect confidence, faith, and emotional strength. Over time, people begin guarding their hearts because they fear being disappointed again. But healing cannot fully begin while fear continues controlling the heart. God never intended for people to live trapped in bitterness, regret, or hopelessness. He understands every painful memory and every silent struggle. He sees the hidden tears nobody else notices. He understands the emotional battles that people fight privately every single day. And even when others fail to understand your pain, God remains close to the brokenhearted. One of the enemy's greatest strategies is convincing people that their mistakes and failures permanently disqualify them from future blessings. Many individuals spend years condemning themselves over decisions they regret. They replay painful memories repeatedly in their minds and allow guilt to define their identity. But God's grace is greater than human failure. Your past may explain part of your story, but it does not have the authority to determine your future. Some of the strongest people today are individuals who survived seasons they once thought would destroy them. They endured heartbreak, disappointment, and emotional exhaustion, yet they continued moving forward one step at a time. Strength is often developed through survival. Wisdom is often born through pain, and compassion often grows from personal struggle. Restoration does not always happen instantly. Sometimes healing is a process that unfolds gradually. God often heals people layer by layer. He rebuilds confidence slowly. He renews faith steadily. He restores peace one step at a time. During this process, patience becomes important because many people become discouraged when change does not happen immediately. But healing takes time, and growth often happens quietly beneath the surface before visible transformation appears. There are moments when God allows tall endings because He is preparing new beginnings. Certain relationships end. Certain opportunities close. Certain chapters of life come to completion. In the moment, those endings may feel devastating, but later people realize that God was clearing space for something healthier and greater. Sometimes what feels like loss is actually divine redirection. You cannot allow temporary pain to permanently define your identity. Just because you experience failure does not mean you are a failure. Just because you faced rejection does not mean you are unwanted. Just because life became difficult does not mean God has abandoned you. Difficult seasons are chapters, not conclusions. Many people underestimate the power of hope. Hope gives people the strength to continue when circumstances feel impossible. Hope reminds the heart that change is still possible. It creates expectation for better days ahead. And when faith and hope work together, people develop the courage to keep moving forward, even through uncertainty. There are blessings waiting ahead that your current pain cannot even imagine yet. God is able to restore joy after sorrow, peace after chaos, and purpose after confusion. The very areas where you feel weakest today may become the areas where His strength becomes most visible tomorrow. Do not become trapped looking backward at everything that went wrong. Some people remain emotionally stuck because they constantly relive old disappointments instead of embracing new possibilities. But God's plans for your future are greater than the pain from your past. He is not limited by what hurt you, who left you, or what failed before. Every setback, every painful lesson, and every difficult season can become part of the testimony that shapes your future strength. One day you may look back at the hardest moments of your life and realize that God was quietly rebuilding you into a stronger, wiser, and more faithful person, while you thought everything was falling apart. Ladies and gentlemen, no matter how difficult your situation may seem today, never forget that God is still in control. The delays, the disappointments, the sleepless nights, and the unanswered questions are not the end of your story. Every challenge you faced has been shaping your strength, deepening your faith, and preparing you for the moment when God's favor shifts everything in your life. What feature? The impossible to human understanding is still possible with God. There will be moments when fear tries to convince you to give up, but you must continue believing even when you cannot yet see the outcome. Keep praying when the answer feels delayed. Keep trusting when the road feels uncertain. Keep walking forward even when progress seems slow. God often works silently before he moves powerfully. The breakthrough you are waiting for may be much closer than you realize. Do not allow temporary pain to make permanent decisions for your future. Your current struggle is not your final destination. God is able to restore what was broken, heal what was wounded, and open doors no person can shut. He can take years of hardship and turn them into a testimony of his faithfulness. The same God who carried you through every difficult season will also lead you into a season of peace, favor, restoration, and purpose. One day you will look back and understand that every battle, every delay, and every tear had a purpose. Nothing was wasted. God was strengthening you, preparing you, and positioning you for greater things ahead. So lift your head, renew your faith, and keep expecting God to move in your life because your breakthrough season is coming. And always remember, when God's favor arrives, one moment can completely change your entire life forever.